Hey guys, how you doing? This is Emery Head, 32, originally from Fayetteville, Georgia, living in Florence, South Carolina now, and I am rebuilt.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the I Am Rebuilt series. As always, guys, I'm your host, CEO, founder of Rebuilt Recovery, Frank Rich. And guys, you know what we're about here with the I Am Rebuilt series. We're here highlighting some amazing men, some guys that decided it was their time to step up, to take action, to take back control, and ultimately take over responsibility in their life and begin to work towards becoming that man that we all know they were created to be. And today, so incredibly honored and grateful to be sharing with you somebody that I've had the pleasure and honor of working with over the last 4 months. And like I tell you guys every single time, these men that come into this program, they come in client first, maybe student, maybe mentee. But by the end of our time here, 4 months later, that relationship grows far beyond mentor, mentee, coach, student. Every single one of these men become a part of the family here at Rebuild Recovery. So I'm very excited to introduce you guys to somebody that has become a very close friend of mine over the last 4 months. Guys, we have Emery Head with us here today. Emery, how you doing, brother?
What's going on, Frank? How you doing, man? I'm doing well.
Yeah, brother. I thought, as we've been talking over these past 4 months, you've really uh, blossomed in a few different ways through this program, and I've really been, inspired by your commitment to the work here and some of the things that you've been able to, bring forth in your own life. Obviously we try to go far beyond just working through the porn addiction, because I don't believe that our major problem is in and with porn in and of itself. I think that there's a lot of other areas that it's impacted, and a lot of what I try to do is help us step into bigger purposes in our life. So I'm really excited to kind of share some of the things that you've been able to accomplish, some of the groups and the men that you're leading, some of the work accomplishments that you've been able to have, and just kind of how you're now really stepping into a much improved version of the man that I met just 4 months ago. So if you could, man, why don't you kind of take a few moments here and just maybe kind of tell the listeners and watchers here, where you were just 4, 5, 6 months ago before reaching out. How long had you been struggling with this issue? What if any things had you maybe tried in the past that weren't working? And then what motivated you to reach out and ask for help when you did?
Yeah, so I'm 32 years old. I was first introduced to pornography when I was 12 years old by a friend of mine at the time. I have struggled with it mostly on, I'd love to say on and off for 20 years, but mostly on for 20 years, man. And I think the one question that stands out there is what was the main motivator? Um, Man, I'd been broken for like a really long time. That was the only way that I could see myself as just this incredibly flawed and um, just I just unfixable individual, right? And couldn't hold down a relationship, had no sort of emotional stability or anything, and started listening to a lot of the neuroscientists on YouTube just kind of talk about like the damage that actually pornography does to the brain. Um, and I just got out of yet another relationship, so yeah, there was nowhere else to turn. Um, I don't think I actually had tried anything other than just white knuckling it and just going with willpower. So um, yeah, I found your podcast. I actually don't even know how I found your podcast. Now that I think about it, it's been about a year now, and I have no idea how I found your podcast. But I was actually laying in bed with my ex at the time, and she was my girlfriend at the time. But I was laying in bed with her, and I love the way you start off every podcast saying, I'm so grateful and blessed to have you here. And I was like, hey, listen to this. Like, it's beautiful. So, yeah, she kind of encouraged me to reach out to you actually. So yeah, that's kind of where I was, man. Unfortunately, that relationship didn't.
I actually remember when she reached out. You guys were here in Tampa, and she had reached out a few days ahead of time, and I think something had come up last minute. Oh, I was taking a trip a few hours south to watch my nephew play, which now I'm coaching his little league team, but he was in a tournament that week, and so I wasn't able to meet you guys when you were in Tampa. But I think a lot of what you said there, every guy, probably watching this is experience a similar feeling. I don't think, A for one, 12 is right about the average age of most men's first exposure. But it's also something that, as we grow and get older, it's like we do deal with this for a very long time. Sometimes we're aware of it, sometimes we're not. So with you knowing that it's something that, had been a part of your life for almost 20 years, but then you kind of find, this guy on the internet has got this podcast. He's grateful to have you here. Everything that you shared there. Were there any hesitations, about maybe joining the program? And then if so, like, what was that, internal dialogue like to help you get past it?
I wish I knew every language I could say, of course, in other than English, but absolutely there were hesitations, man. Pride. I consider myself to be a pretty vulnerable individual. For the most part, I'm an open book, but yeah, that's not really one that I've been open to. Open to sharing with many people throughout my life. So yeah, there was definitely a lot of hesitancy to open up about that. But man, I'm grateful I did. And again, I'm just grateful for the nudging. I'm grateful for even the path of brokenness that that was laid before me before finding this program. Just to have a lot of clarity as to how I had the role that I played in creating that path for myself and just perpetuated that cycle with just giving into the addiction, man. So yeah, no, that wasn't something I had been open to sharing before, man. But again, I'm forever grateful.
And I say it all the time. I think, getting to the point where even if it's just a conversation, one of the things we do is, we do consults for you guys. So, we'll give you an invitation to book a call here. But I tell every person that jumps on a free call with me, whether or not you decide to join any of our programs, I think that first conversation and just having it and getting it out there can be life changing. And that was for me as well. Going back here almost 3 years now, February 14th, 2019, like everything changed right then and there when I found the strength and courage to have that initial conversation. So as you guys are hearing this, like, it's important to find somebody that you can, trust in a safe place to just get these things out. It really is life changing. Um, Emery, can you maybe talk a little bit about, your kind of initial, reaction once you're in the program, and then what the experience was like, working through it? Did I help in any way making this process easier? What was it like there? And then in terms of accountability, yeah, just maybe unpack the program a little bit and talk about some of your experience if you can.
The first thing that comes out aside from actually having weekly, mentorship calls is the accountability questions, right? It's a time to actually review like the mental state, like, okay, how have I been feeling? How what's led me into making these decisions, or how does this even resonate with everything that I've gone through in my mind, up until this point, right? And so, as far as working with you and how have you helped? Crazy question, of course. And honestly, the way that you've helped, man, is that you're obviously the man who's taken these steps and is graduated past this point, but um, the way you present your knowledge is just it's an extremely like relatable just conversation, like I'm talking to a friend. Like I never felt like I was talking to the Frank Rich that I had, created in my mind. Like I always felt like I was just talking to Frank Rich. Like I could have just, gone next door, and had a conversation, man. And I think that takes a lot of pressure off, especially when you're dealing with like this compulsive behavior that you've had for so long. This thing that's just been ruling your mind. There's a lot of pressure that comes along with. Okay, I'm finally tackling this. I've never been successful at this. What if I fail again? What if I disappoint Frank? What if I disappoint this person, that person? Right? So, I would say one of the attributes that you bring that makes it really helpful and actually kind of incites a little courage that I probably wouldn't have had before is just the relatability and just having conversation, man.
Wow. Um, Thank you. Um, Conversation is my favorite thing. It's not by accident that I started a podcast and built my life around having deep, meaningful conversations. So to hear you say that, man, really, it just fills me up with, just sincere gratitude. Um, Talk about what you learned about Emery, and as I said, what I've tried to create here goes far beyond maybe a true just addiction recovery program. I really tried to create something that takes us through maybe an identity change. That's some terminology I've used quite a bit, but yeah, talk about what you learned about Emory over the course of this program, and then maybe what you're kind of looking forward to now. Being 4 months removed here and kind of stepping into this next season of your life.
Oh man. Well, okay. I don't know how much time you got, but I got the whole book right here. Um, how much? Oh, Jesus Christ, this is a very difficult question to answer, man. Number one, I've learned that I have the ability to change my circumstances. Right, I'm not a victim. And for the longest, it was really easy for me to find someone to blame or find a circumstance to blame. It's because of this that I do this, or it's because of you that I feel this way. And and yeah, victimhood. I spoke victimhood fluently. For the majority of my life, man. So this program actually helped me to again take ownership, and see myself as more than not only a victim, but more than a flawed individual, just an inherently flawed individual, but somebody who um, actually brings value, right? Somebody who actually does have leadership potential, somebody who actually can take take a situation from what it is and transform it into what it can be or what it should be. Starting with myself, right? So man, this program is actually and I know you kind of mentioned it before, but the mental health mastermind that I've kind of kicked off with some guys who mean the world to me. I've known these guys for 15 years, and never would I've had the courage to even kick something like that off. Had I not had the courage to get on these calls and have conversation about something that as shameful as a pornography addiction with in my mind a hero of mine, right? So that gave me a different level of courage to approach certain aspects of my life with, the boldness and the confidence that, honestly, as believers, we're supposed to have, right? Um, so yeah, I actually kind of saw myself as an image bearer of God, and actually saw myself walking through that in certain areas of my life it was just unfamiliar before. And sometimes I will say some points of the program I struggled, just not being used to these new wineskins. Like, "Oh, what is this? What is this power?" But little do we know, as we're like searching for God, as we're surfing through the web, looking at these images and so forth, we're just really like we have everything we need, within it. But we're so used to external stimulus and external um, factors that you know take the time to realize what we're actually capable of creating. Yeah, things change quickly, like you said.
Yeah, that's beautiful, and just for anybody watching or listening, I mentioned it here at the beginning, and then Emery kind of glossed over here, but I like to highlight some of the real change in the man's success or in the man's life through this program. We've had guys start new businesses, get reconnected. We had another guy dating back to Dave on episode 2. If you guys haven't, go check that one out. By the end of the program, he was leading a celebrate recovery table in a local church community. And what Emery is saying here is, midway through the program, he decided that he wanted to start leading a weekly men's call, and it was centered around the topic of mental health. And it's just been truly inspiring to me to see you step into that phase, that leadership role. And like you said, somebody that was unwilling to maybe have a difficult conversation about his own struggles just 4 weeks ago or 4 months ago is now leading other men to openly have these real, vulnerable, life-changing conversations. So hats off, man, to you again there. And then obviously, like I told you, since you started that, man, anything I can do to continue to support you, make sure to keep me included in all that. But Emery, as we bring it home here, there's gonna be a lot of guys that are maybe dealing with some of that pride stuff that we talked about. Maybe it's been a 20-year addiction in their life. Maybe they have tried, they tried the white knuckling approach. Maybe they've even gone into a different program, and it's like that just doesn't work for me. Yeah, I see it, Emery. You're here on the other side, but you're not me. You don't know what I've been through. Or even if you had a chance to maybe go talk to yourself 6 months or a year ago to maybe even get into this a little bit sooner, what would your words be to yourself, or maybe that guy that's kind of sitting on the fence right now and is a little hesitant about maybe joining a program like this?
I would say, life doesn't change until you do, and I know that's cliche. We've all heard it before, man. Jim Rohn always says you take a step towards God, God takes a step toward you. Right? Um, but yeah, man, it take the leap. It's another Jim Rohn quote, but it's all risky. There's the risk of not trying, and there's the risk of trying and failing. But at least you know that you've tried, right? And I don't think there's failure. I think the word failure is thrown around erroneously. I think there are lessons learned, through the hardship. I can't tell you how many lessons I've learned just through struggle of sometimes the day to day. That the day-to-day mental battle that I was afraid to fight before. But then, you also learn there's grace, and you find peace in that situation. Like, okay, I may not be here yet, but I'm on the way. And I wasn't there before because I was so afraid to take a step. So yeah, man, don't let the fear hold you back. If somebody judges you for trying, you need a new circle.
Amen. Amen. And yeah, big fan of Jim Rome here, and kind of stealing and tweaking one of his. He's got the thing. You don't chase becoming a millionaire to make $1 million. You chase becoming a millionaire so you can become the person that can consistently make $1 million. And one of the core beliefs here that we built everything here at Rebuilt Recovery off of is the only way to fully overcome your addiction to pornography is to become the man that is no longer addicted to porn. And it's in that becoming, like we're constantly evolving, we're constantly growing, we're constantly transforming. But getting on the other side of this, and getting to the point where you can live porn free is where freedom is found. So, brother, I appreciate you so much, man. Thank you. Inspired by you. Grateful for, for one, your willingness to take a chance with me, because I know it was, you took a risk, you took a chance by reaching out, and by joining the program. So encouraged and inspired, and looking forward to our newfound relationship and friendship, and continuing to see you grow and impact the world. For you guys that are out there and hearing this, if you're ready, maybe just have a conversation. Maybe that's where we start, is just getting on a call, and seeing, maybe mapping out what a journey would look like for you, maybe mapping out what a 4 month reboot or recovery process would look like. What I want you to do is down there in the description box, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching this anywhere else, below this video somewhere, there's going to be a link. Tap that link, fill the application out, book a call. But for Frank Rich, Emery Head here at Rebuild Recovery, guys, highlighting another transformed life. We'll see you on the other side.